Welcome back to Numastrate today. That very coin could be hiding in an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or even in your pocket change. In this video, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1939 Lincoln Wheat Penny. We'll explore its history, its mint marks, rare varieties, errors, and most importantly, its value and how one tiny detail could turn a simple 1-cent coin into something truly special. So stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might completely change the way you look at pennies forever. The historical background of the 1939 Lincoln Wheat Penny. The 1939 Lincoln Wheat Penny was produced in the United States Mint during a time when the world was on the edge of major change. Europe was heading toward World War II, and America was still recovering from the Great Depression. Every coin minted that year carries the silent story of that era. The Lincoln cent design had already been in circulation for 30 years. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. That alone made it revolutionary. On the front, you see the proud profile of Lincoln facing right. The word Liberty appears on the left, and the year 1939 appears on the right. Above his head, the powerful motto reads, "In God We Trust." Flip the coin over, and you'll find the classic wheat reverse, two elegant wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. This iconic design is why collectors call it the Wheat Penny. Where were 1939 pennies minted? In 1939, Lincoln Wheat Pennies were struck at 3 different mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, Denver coins carry a small D below the date, San Francisco coins carry a small S. Each mint produced different quantities, and that difference plays a huge role in value. Philadelphia struck hundreds of millions of coins that year. Denver produced fewer. San Francisco minted the lowest amount of the 3. Because of this, certain mint marks are harder to find in higher grades, which increases collector demand. Understanding condition and grading. Here's something very important. Condition is everything. A heavily worn 1939 penny that circulated for decades might only be worth a small premium over face value. But a sharply detailed, bright red, uncirculated example? That's a completely different story. Collectors use grading terms like good, very fine, extremely fine about uncirculated mints. State the higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. And when you combine a high grade with a scarce mint mark, that's when serious money enters the picture. Rare and valuable 1939 penny varieties. Now let's talk about what really excites collectors: rare varieties and errors. Point 1 of the most talked about varieties is the 1939 double die reverse. On this variety, the lettering on the back of the coin shows noticeable doubling, especially in the words 1 cent and United States of America. This doubling happened during the die creation process. It was not damage. It was a minting error, and errors like this create rarity. Collectors carefully examine coins under magnification to detect this type of detail. Many valuable coins are discovered only because someone took the time to look closely. There are also repunched mint mark varieties. In some cases, the mint mark was punched into the die more than once, creating slight shifts or doubling in the letter. These small differences can make a coin far more desirable to advanced collectors. How much is a 1939 Lincoln Wheat Penny worth? Now we get to the part everyone is waiting for: the value. A circulated 1939 penny from Philadelphia in lower grades is generally modest in value. It's common and widely available. However, when you move into higher mint state grades, especially with original red color, the price increases significantly. The 1939D and 1939S issues can command stronger premiums in higher grades because fewer were made compared to Philadelphia. The real excitement comes with rare varieties and exceptionally preserved examples. A top condition coin with strong luster, no wear, and sharp details can surprise you, and when we talk about rare double die examples in outstanding condition, the value climbs dramatically. In fact, one exceptional 1939 Lincoln Wheat Penny reached a value of $54,255. Yes, a coin that once bought a piece of candy could one day equal the price of a car or even a down payment on a house. Why are collectors so passionate about this coin? The 1939 Lincoln Wheat Penny represents more than copper. It represents history. It was minted just before America entered World War II. It circulated during one of the most defining periods in global history. It passed through the hands of Americans who experienced the Great Depression and the beginning of economic recovery. Collectors aren't just buying metal, they are preserving stories. Every scratch, every bit of wear, every toned surface tells a story of decades gone by. That emotional connection drives demand. And where there is demand, there is value. What makes one penny worth more than another? Let's break it down clearly. The value depends on mint mark condition, color, rarity, errors, or varieties. Market demand. Color is especially important for wheat pennies. When originally struck, these coins had a bright red copper shine. Over time, they turn brown. Coins are often categorized as a brown red. A full red example in high mint state is far more valuable than a brown one in the same grade. This is why two coins from the same year and mint can have drastically different prices. One might be worth only a small amount, while the other could be worth thousands. Could you have one? You might be wondering, could I actually find one of these valuable pennies? The answer is yes. Wheat pennies were produced in the billions over their 50-year history. Many still exist in jars, old collections, estate sales, flea markets, and bankrolls. People often overlook pennies because they seem insignificant. But within that small copper circle could be a hidden treasure. All it takes is patience, knowledge, and careful examination. How to check your 1939 penny? First, look at the date. Make sure it clearly reads 1939. Second, check below the date for a mint mark. Is there no letter? A.D. and S. The third, examine the reverse lettering carefully for signs of doubling. Use a magnifying glass if possible. A fourth, observe the condition. Are Lincoln's cheek and jaw sharply detailed? Are the wheat stalks full and defined? Finally, consider having high-quality examples professionally graded. Certification can significantly increase buyer confidence and value. The emotional power of coin collecting. Coin collecting is not just about money. It's about discovery. It's about holding a physical connection to history. The 1939 Lincoln wheat penny is a perfect example of how something small can carry massive historical and financial weight. From everyday pocket change to a collector's showcase piece, this humble cent continues to inspire curiosity and excitement. The next time you see a penny, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. Check the date. Study the details, because some are out there, hidden among ordinary coins. Could be a 1939 Lincoln wheat penny waiting to be discovered, and if you're lucky enough to find a rare, high-grade, exceptional example, remember this: one tiny copper coin from 1939 has reached a value of $54,255. That same small copper coin could be worth far more than 1 cent. In this video, we are diving deep into the fascinating story, value, mint marks, and rare varieties of the 1942 Lincoln wheat penny from the United States of America. Stay with me until the very end, because the value of this coin might truly surprise you. The historical background of 1942. The year 1942 was a powerful and emotional year in American history. The United States had just entered World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor in late 1941. Factories shifted to war production. Copper, steel, and other metals became critical materials for military equipment. Yet during this important year, the U.S. Mint continued producing the Lincoln wheat penny, a design that had already been in circulation for more than 3 decades. The 1942 penny would become one of the last Lincoln cents struck in bronze before the famous 1943 steel cents were introduced due to copper shortages. About the Lincoln wheat penny design. The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature a real historical person. On the front of the coin, you'll see the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln. This iconic design was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. The inscriptions include "In God We Trust" at the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the year 1942 to the right. On the reverse side, 2 elegant wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. This classic wheat design gives the coin its popular name. The wheat penny. Mint marks of the 1942 Lincoln penny. In 1942, the Lincoln wheat penny was produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia Mint, No Mint Mark Denver Mint, D Mint Mark San Francisco Mint, S Mint Mark. Each mint produced millions of coins, but the mint mark can significantly affect the coin's rarity and value, especially in higher grades or with errors. A Philadelphia Mint 1942 penny. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 657 million pennies in 1942. Because of this high mintage, most circulated examples are common today. In worn condition, these coins typically hold modest value above face value. However, condition is everything in coin collecting. If you find a 1942 Philadelphia penny in uncirculated condition with strong red luster, its value increases dramatically. Collectors pay premiums for coins with original mint shine and minimal contact marks. Denver Mint 1942 D penny. The Denver Mint struck over 206 million pennies in 1942. These coins carry a small D mint mark below the date. Although the mintage was lower than Philadelphia, 1942 D pennies are still relatively common in circulated grades. But again, high-grade uncirculated examples, especially those graded MS65 red or higher, can command impressive prices in the collector market. San Francisco Mint 1942's penny. The San Francisco Mint produced approximately 85 million pennies in 1942. With a smaller mintage compared to Philadelphia and Denver, the 1942's penny can be slightly more desirable. In circulated condition, it may not seem rare. But in gem uncirculated condition, especially with vibrant red color, it becomes much more collectible. Why 1942 is a special year for Lincoln cents? One major reason collectors love 1942 pennies is because this year marks the transition just before the famous 1943 steel cents. In 1943, due to copper shortages during World War II, pennies were made from zinc-coated steel. That makes 1942 one of the last full bronze compositions before the change. The 1942 penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it that classic rich brown or reddish appearance. Rare errors and varieties. Now let's talk about something that can truly skyrocket the value of a 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Mint errors and varieties. 1942 double die obverse. One of the most sought-after varieties is the 1942 double die obverse. This error shows noticeable doubling in the lettering, particularly in God We Trust and the date. If you find a strong double die example in high grade, it can be extremely valuable. Off-center strike. Sometimes coins were not properly aligned when struck. This causes part of the design to be missing and blank space visible. Off-center 1942 pennies can be highly collectible depending on how dramatic the error is. Die cracks and cuds. Some 1942 pennies show visible die cracks, raised lines caused by cracks in the minting dies. Larger die breaks, known as cuds, can also add collector interest. What determines the value of a 1942 Lincoln penny? Several key factors determine how much your 1942 penny is worth. Condition, the most important factor. Coins are graded from poor to mint state. Color, red coins are more valuable than red brown or brown. Examples, mint mark. Some mint marks may carry slight premiums. Errors, rare varieties significantly increase value. Professional grading, coins graded by services like PCGS or NGC often sell for higher prices. Circulated versus uncirculated. A circulated 1942 penny may show wear on Lincoln's hair and cheek. The wheat stalks on the reverse may appear flattened. An uncirculated example will have full detail, no wear, and often bright mint luster. The difference in value between a worn coin and a gem uncirculated coin can be dramatic. How to check if you have a valuable 1942 penny? First, look for the mint mark below the date. Second, examine the coin under magnification for doubling or unusual features. Third, evaluate the color. Is it bright red, reddish brown, or dark brown? Fourth, consider having high-grade examples professionally graded. Always handle coins carefully by the edges and never clean them. Cleaning can significantly reduce a coin's value. Collector demand. Lincoln Wheat pennies are among the most widely collected U.S. coins. Their affordability, history, and classic design make them popular with both beginners and advanced collectors. The 1942 penny, because of its wartime context and its position before the steel cent year, holds a special place in many collections. Could a 1942 penny make you money? Most 1942 pennies found in pocket change or old jars will not make you rich. However, exceptional examples in high grades, especially rare varieties or error coins, can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. It all comes down to condition, rarity, and collector demand. Final thoughts. The 1942 Lincoln Wheat penny is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of America during a time of global conflict. It represents resilience, history, and the power of small things to carry great value. If you have a 1942 penny, take a closer look. You might just be holding a small piece of history and possibly a valuable treasure.